You're listening to Women in Wellness, the program to help you create gorgeous growth for your blissful business in health and wellness. I'm Dr. Gabby, holistic health expert and founder of Women in Wellness, a one-of-a-kind course and community designed to empower and inform you about how to build a purposeful and profitable holistic business. And I have an awesome guest today. Sadie Lincoln is here with us. Sadie is co-founder of the Bar 3 Studios, which has 130 locations nationwide. She is currently guiding a B3 all-in 30-day program with Dr. Frank Littman, which she's going to tell us all about. Hi, Sadie.
Hi, so happy to be on your podcast.
Yes, this is awesome. And so I got to hear you speak live at the Revitalize event over the summer, and I was really intrigued with a lot of the stuff that you shared. I feel a sort of resonance with your approach to how you do things. And so I wanted to make sure that everybody got to hear some of this. Really, I couldn't believe the story, how you and your husband went all in on this business. So just such a big risk, so boldly. And so I really wanted to hear from you a little bit about what that experience was like of selling the house and going all in for something that you believed in.
Yeah. Well, my mantra during that whole era was courage. And it really did take courage. And it was an incredible experience for me and my husband. It really brought us close together and united. So it was pretty exciting. We sold our house. As you mentioned, we lived in California. We had these great jobs in the fitness industry. We'd sort of arrived. We had 2 kids, a beautiful home. And we just looked at each other one day and realized we were empty, that our lives weren't full. And that we just had this moment of awareness that we could make our own life full. And it had nothing to do with money, had nothing to do with getting there and being attached to an outcome. And it had everything to do with getting back to our core values. And we actually put together 2 plans. One plan was to sell the house and move to Bend, Oregon and not work for a year. And that was more of Chris's plan. That scared the bejeebers out of me. But it was so exciting for me to even think that we could do that. That you can do anything. You can let go of what you're currently doing and do something as radical as that, right? So that was sort of the catalyst of, okay, well, if we can let go and not work for a year, then why don't we instead, and the whole point of that is work is fatigue. Work is not working for us. Work does not fill my soul, right? What if we took a year to build a job that filled my soul? That added to my life and enriched my life? Let's try. What do we have to lose? We have to lose money. Who cares, right? And after we let go that way, everything fell into place. It was just one thing. We sold our house on Craigslist. One person toured it and bought it. We packed the kids and the cat at the time, drove to Portland, Oregon, rented a teeny little house, went down to 1 car, put every penny, we're bootstrappers, neither of us come from money. We put every penny that we'd worked our butts off to earn into our dream. And now I get to share that with we decided to franchise Bar 3 because we came from the fitness industry. So we had a wealth of knowledge of how to scale a business. We knew the business. And then we knew a lot of people didn't, but they loved the art of fitness and they wanted that lifestyle. And so we decided to go with franchising because it's an empowered method of growing. So now to this day, I get to sign with these amazing women and men who share our story, and I get to give them the keys, to their own studio, their own dream. And it just keeps, paying it forward that way. It's really fun.
There's like a million things that you said that I need to ask about. I mean, one of them that you mentioned was this idea of core values. Yeah. How did you know what your values were, and how did you know what would enhance them or align you with them?
Back then, I was a new mom. And for me, having a child, it became so crystal clear. As soon as I met my first baby, I was like, okay, I know my value. Like, it just was just looking into her eyes. I was like, There they are. They're my values. And, relationships, having meaningful relationships, connecting with people, truly connecting. It became very important to me, quality time, being present. Being out in nature. There are all kinds of things that just all of a sudden I was taking my daughter on walks instead of going to the gym. I was doing an at-home yoga practice instead of going to, a spinning class, or I was doing a lot of work on just like who I was as a person. And so that back then, that was how, we came to the idea of 3, which is like a triangle. And for us, it was about balance. How can we find balance in our life, which the triangle is a perfectly balanced shape? How can I find balance in the body? Bringing my body back after having a baby, which is, the ultimate injury. To this day, balance still is our North Star. It's still the thing that drives every business decision we make. That's why we have it in our name, R3.
That's so cool. And the other thing that you mentioned was that you worked for like a decade for another fitness company, and you learned everything you needed to know right before you launched. How important was that? How important was it to know the industry before you launched your company?
For me, huge, for 2 reasons. Number one, I had such a worldview, literally a worldview. I traveled the world, and I helped open all kinds of fitness gyms and concepts. I worked for the founder and CEO for 24 Hour Fitness. He's very visionary, and he took me under his wing. And so I learned the ins and outs of the industry. And I learned a lot about what it takes to have a spirit of the company and the brand of the company. And that really resonated with me. Chris really learned the business side, P&Ls, how to, build a studio, real estate construction. So we were really balanced, and I was the product side more. I've always been a teacher. I've taught for over 25 years now, group exercise. But the second piece to that is I learned what I didn't want to be. And that was actually really humbling and really demoralizing for me for a while there until I turned it to a positive. But I found myself in the center of this booming fitness company, this gym concept that, people were, it was all about selling health and products that made you healthy. But my own health was declining. And I was heavier, I was foggy headed, I was uncomfortable with my own body, I was frustrated, and I was working really hard. I was working out really hard. But what I realized, I felt like I was failing the whole fitness industry. I just couldn't believe it. Like, why isn't this working for me? But that was the real catalyst for me to think about maybe fitness is failing me. Maybe this model isn't working. And that's what, so I had a huge life lesson through the experience, and I had the real tactics that have supported me along the way.
Nice. Those are all such critical things, like having a mentor, having someone to show you the ropes, having the insight into the practice and how you want to do the practice differently. You have something different to offer, a different spin on fitness, some other way to approach it that might help people more. You said a lot of things at Revitalize that I thought were really important. One of the things that you said was that you thought that being an entrepreneur was hardwired. And I'm wondering did you have a moment when you made the shift and you guys were building the studios that you were like, oh, I'm an entrepreneur. Like, this is who I am. Did that come in an insight, or did it just sort of evolve over time?
Yeah, I think because I'm so entrepreneurial, I'm also glass is always half full. I'm the ultimate optimist. And I think a lot of entrepreneurs share that trait of just unbridled optimism. Anything can happen. Right? So it's so natural for me. But when I started to really realize, maybe this is something, I took it for granted. But then so many people would ask me along the way, isn't this hard? Isn't this challenging? Or what are your greatest fears? And I was always like, it's not really hard. This is actually my native genius. I'm in the flow right now. This is this is right. And what I've learned over the years is when you find your native genius, when you find where you're supposed to be, then it just kind of flows. And for me, being an entrepreneur is natural. And so I'm finally free. Whereas when I worked for a company, like following other people's rules and, driving company, whatever, just never, it never, and yeah.
Okay, so you are an entrepreneur and you're free spirit and you're in the flow, and now you have your husband as a business partner, right? So is that great? Is that an added challenge? Are you guys in the same flow or different flows? How does that work?
We work on it a lot. We are, it's really good for us. We're so different in a lot of ways. The core thing that keeps us strong is we have such mutual respect for each other. And I really think respect is the glue for any married couple that also works together. We do everything together. We equally parent. We equally run our company, and we're obviously husband and wife. And so we have tons of partnerships. It's tricky though over time. And for us, we both lead our company. We're co-founders. So I think that's hard for our team sometimes to have kind of two bosses. I recently took on the title CEO. And it's funny because we toss it back and forth. Like, I'm like, you're CEO. Like those days I don't want to deal. I'm like, you're CEO. I'm CEO, but he's kind of the CFO now. And we've worked with we've hired consultants and outside mentors to help us. It's a little bit lonely running a company. Even if you do it with your best friend or business partner, it's lonely. So having a partner and consultant come in, we have this wonderful mentor right now. His name's Howard Mann. He's awesome. He's been helping us a ton, just really understand how our relationship can get stronger as we run this company versus, distance us.
So cool. I love how there's multiple partnerships in the partnership.
Oh yeah, tons.
So fun.
Yeah. 50.
You also mentioned this idea of falling down and getting back up and falling down and getting back up throughout the process, which I experience all the time. And I'm wondering, what are your thoughts about resilience, or how you maintain that kind of motivation, inspiration, resilience throughout the process?
Number one is be okay failing. Just accept it. It's just accept it. Like, be okay not always being on your A game, right? For me, I'm talking to myself right now, self-therapy. But honestly, like one of my mentor peers, he told me one time, he said, Sadie, progress, not perfection. And that was such a game changer for me. As long as I'm progressing, and in order to progress, I'm going to hit walls. And I'm going to do things wrong. I'm going to flat out make mistakes that I'm going to regret. And just know that going in, and I just try to give myself a big break about it. And by doing that, then the inspiration comes back. And I always remember, I just jump on my website and I read the comments of people, reaching out to me and talking to me about their experience with bar 3. And it's like, okay, cup back full. I'm good. Let's go.
What are some of those things that you hear?
Oh my gosh. I'm in heaven right now. I'm guiding a 30-day program called B3 All In, and it's really accessible. I made it super affordable, and it's all you have to do is press play. It's online. So I have people literally all over the world doing this with me right now. And we're all from different parts of the country. We're all really diverse people. That's the fun thing about doing it at home, is I think there's more diversity, which I thrive in. And, but we all share common values. It's like my people. The most common thing I hear is, thank you so much, because I identify with being physical. I'm a kind of high performing type of person, and I'm frustrated because my body's failing me. I can't do my boot camp classes like I used to. I can't run 10 miles like I used to, because of knees or back or, and that's my story too. And I've figured out a way in all of our workouts to address that and to adapt every posture so you get an athletic, strong, challenging, meaningful burn without the aches and pains. So people constantly are writing in and telling me how thankful they are that I brought their physicality back into their body in a challenging way, while empowering them to make it their own. A lot of people love the mindfulness of our workouts, and that they're 10 minutes or 30 minutes. You know, you can work them into a busy day. It's just, I keep hearing from people that are just like me over and over and over again with the same problem. like sitting online and having like 10,000 friends. It's pretty awesome.
And how and why did you get Dr. Frank involved in the process?
Okay. He's awesome. You know him?
Yeah.
I adore him. So Dr. Frank Lipman is a pioneer in integrative medicine. We are very aligned on whole body health, and that, you know, I always say exercise is not the answer. In fact, I think people over exercise, which is ironic because that's the core of my business, right? But it's true. People over exercise. We all put all of our kind of eggs in that basket, but there's so much more to being healthy. And Frank rounds that out with me. On our last webcast, I talked a lot about what I call the inner mirror, where this 30 days is about letting go of the exterior mirror, like what the outside looks like, and taking a look inside. And he really helps us take a look inside. So he talks about the gut and how important it is to maintain a healthy gut, a healthy heart, healthy lungs, blood, bones, your brain, you know, all these things inside of our bodies that we forget to think about, is what I'm all about. And he brings the science to it and credibility. And he's been a lovely partner.
That's so exciting.
Yeah.
That's really, really fun. And anybody can participate in this?
Yeah. Anybody with any experience. Yep.
Nice.
Yeah.
And that makes it so accessible. I feel like I used to teach a lot of A&P because I'm a professor, and I would get invited to different trainings to teach A&P. And I feel like it can be really intimidating if you teach it one way, but it sounds like the way that you're describing it is the way that I like to teach it, which makes it really accessible. It's about like your movement. It's about the way you feel. It's like a totally different way to access all these parts that we have.
Yeah, I call that body wisdom.
Great. That's a great way to describe it.
I often say people come into bar 3 wanting a hard body, and they leave with a wise body.
Oh,
And that's what's important.
yeah. And I remember you also talking about intuition on the panel that you were on. Do you feel like wisdom is related to intuition, or are they different? Like, how do you see that? How do you see that as part of this process of being healthy?
Oh, I think it's 90%.
Wow.
I think that maybe 95%. I have this theory that we are all born knowing what's right. We know inside of ourselves what is healthy and what is our own definition of balance. And what's wonderful is every single person has a different makeup, right? And every single person has a different healthy, what makes them healthy. And I think life gets in the way. Over time, we just lose sight of our own inner teacher. I believe that everybody is their own best teacher. They just need to practice to find it again. So my all-in in B3 All-In is going to be completely different than yours. The way I teach is to teach people to listen to their own body, listen to their own intuition, and make choices, educated choices based on my perspective and point of view. But it's really, you know, about your balance and what's right for you. And that's what frankly pisses me off about the fitness industry in general, is I feel like it's a copycat model. We've all been force fed this like formulaic thing, like A plus B equals skinny or whatever. And so we follow it diligently because that's intoxicating. I want to be skinny. Okay. I think we all do. I mean, we've been told that forever, right? So it's intoxicating, and we try it, and then we're frustrated and we fail because that formula was not our formula. You know, I think it's up to each of us to figure out what's right. And it's maybe a little more challenging, but it's way more rewarding.
And how do you guide people back to that self-trust? Because I face this thing with all my clients and students as well, which is we're so accustomed to somebody else telling us what to do, whether it's the doctor or the fitness instructor or the trainer. We're so used to the trust being out there.
Yes.
Is there some way that you help people to reestablish that trust in
yourself?
Yeah.
Ask yourself this one question. First of all, love of learning and openness is key. So I think it's really important to always listen to other people and understand, seek to understand before being understood. So love of learning and openness is number one, coupled with always asking yourself the question, what do I really need right now? What do I really need right now? because that brings it back to you, right? So if I'm in class and I'm saying, okay, everybody down on the floor, we're going to do plank, hands under the shoulders. If you just quickly, what do I really need right now? Maybe I need to be at that ballet bar with the hands at the ballet bar because my shoulders, triggering some pain. So it's like honoring, kind of listening to the teacher for a moment, but also, asking, going back to you.
Nice. And do you think we can get better with that over time as we practice it?
Yeah, it's a practice. So I have 3 A's. Do you want me to explain that?
Yeah.
So these A's I use a lot when you're starting to go through a shame spiral, because like something you swore off, like food's a fun one, like, because we're trying to eat really clean this month. And let's say I swore off ice cream, right? And then all of a sudden you find yourself in the fridge at 10 p.m.
eating the ice cream.
Yeah, with it. And you find yourself and you're just eating the ice cream and you're like, and so it's 3 A's to get out of the shame spiral. And it goes back to what I was just talking about. But the first is just to acknowledge. It's an observation. Oh, I'm eating ice cream, even though I just swore it off 3 hours ago. Like I'm speaking from, personal experience. No, I swore it off 3 hours ago. So that's the first A, is acknowledge. The second is accept. Of course I'm eating ice cream. It's delicious. It tastes so good. Why wouldn't I? It's sweet. It's creamy. It's sugary. I've had a long day, right? That's just, I'm human. I love ice cream, right? That's the accept. And then the third A is ask. It's now you've acknowledged and accept, just to ask, what do I really need right now? And for me, that's always a game changer, because once you go through, you've kind of calmed down by that point, and it's, what do I really need right now? Okay, it's 10 p.m. I'm tired. And my body's thinking maybe I need energy, sugar's energy, but what do I really need? I need a chamomile tea and a good book, right? So there's those 3 A's are something I teach my clients all the time.
That's so powerful. I feel like I could talk to you all day and all night.
Oh, that's fun. Let's keep talking, because this is a snow day. Think of all that snow.
That's amazing. Who's in charge in the family of shoveling the sidewalks and the driveway? Is that you or someone else?
My kids. We put them to work. Yeah, not me.
I always had that job. I always had blisters from like shoveling stuff like snow or leaves, or that wasn't fun. No. Okay, but we've run out of time. So if people want to do the all-in 30-day, can they still get on board with that now? Where do they find it? How do they do it?
It's a perfect time to get on board. Perfect. Yeah. We just kicked it off. So they just go to barre3.com, BARRE3.com.
Great. And I hope they do that. And I hope they go into this program. I think it's so essential what you're doing, helping people reconnect, helping people trust, get mindful, do the inner mirror. I think it's fabulous. And I'm super grateful that you spent some time with us here today. Thanks so much, Sadie.
Thank you so much. It was such a pleasure.
Thanks so much for listening to this episode. You can join the Women in Wellness Club at women-in-wellness.com.